Hi, this is Emily Freitag, and I am delighted today to be talking to the Aldine ISD leadership, Dr. Goffney, Dr. Davis, and Shalia Reed. And we have been in partnership with Aldine and deeply admiring their work and their approach, and grateful to be able to just talk today about what is guiding their thinking. So I will start with Dr. Goffney, and thank you for your time. I know you all are opening schools in a matter of days. Please bring us in on the context of your district and what is guiding your thinking right now.
Emily, we certainly thank you for this time and this opportunity to share a little bit about Aldine. It's amazing. Our journey together has been started actually pre-COVID, and then post-COVID, we certainly appreciated your support. I'm thinking, you said, what's guiding our thinking? About a year ago, we launched our strategic plan, and we had 5 strategic priorities. And the main one was to dramatically improve student outcomes. And while we're in the midst of COVID and in the midst of a couple of pandemics that are happening in the world, that goal to dramatically improve student outcomes has not left our veins. Like, we are still focused on that. And I'm so thankful that we have our Chief Academic Officer and our Chief of Communications to kind of share how, even in the midst of all the things that are happening that could be what I call a distraction or even an excuse, we have continued to be laser focused on making those improvements. So what you'll find right now, you know our community, and I got to kind of set the context so you'll understand. But we're nearly 89% low SES. Our students come from households that are on free and reduced lunch. In addition, we're 73% Hispanic, 23% African American, and the rest white and Asian and other entities. But I tell you that for one purpose only, just to know that we wanted to bring our students back fast. Initially, we said we're going to go as fast as we can, but as slow as we must. But the conditions in our community. So not only are we helping to educate, we also trying to take care of the whole child and making sure that our students have food. And we served over 1.6 million meals between late spring and now. In addition, we've also had to make sure that our students are experiencing some trauma and taking care of those things. So while taking care of the whole child, because of the context in which we're addressing, we're still moving forward in our strategic priority to dramatically improve student outcomes. We've launched a literacy curriculum, which you're going to hear about. We've continued to provide job-embedded PD, because keep in mind, all of our teachers are having their first year. Think about that. We have teachers, we're communications pins to all of our we couldn't have our normal convocation type experience. And so we have teachers who are celebrating 30 years, celebrating 25 years. But in reality, it's their first year. And what I'm proud of is what our teaching and learning department has done under the leadership of Dr. Davis in providing just-in-time PD, job-embedded PD. So, because every teacher is a first-year teacher. And so what you'll find is we're in the process of bringing some students in, but we started school August 17th. We started school August 17th, and there is evidence of learning, evidence of launching a new curriculum, evidence of teachers getting the support that they need in order to teach in a virtual environment.
Dr. Davis, bring us in on some of that work and really just what is guiding your leadership when you think about what kids need and what it's going to take to support their learning.
Yeah, well, thank you, Emily. So I think at the core of everything that we're doing in terms of teaching and learning is making sure that we've got equity and making sure that the systems that we have in place ensure continuity of instruction in whatever setting our students choose, whether it be virtual or whether it be face-to-face. But again, everything, though, all actions come back to equity, and it's not just lip service, but it is actually needs to be integrated into every action we take when it comes to teaching and learning. So, you know, there's just so many different layers of preparation that have to come into play that make sure that every student has equal access to high quality curriculum, high quality instruction every single day. And so our team has focused on, as Dr. Goffney said, building professional learning opportunities for our teachers that is embedded, that is tiered, that's differentiated, that is available on their time, that does support the expectations that we set across the district for that high quality instruction and high quality curriculum. And so that is something that we've been deeply involved in over the course of the last few weeks or months, and then it continues as we move forward. But really what we look at now is, as we are in in the implementation phase, into the now we are actually teaching and we are expecting learning from all students.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's coming in and monitoring to make sure that the expectations are being fulfilled, and then also being formative with our oversight, and that what now can we do to better improve our teachers' practice? What now can we do to support them to be ensuring that all students have equal outcomes and at a high level? And so that's really one of the key things that we're doing now is how do we properly monitor and make sure that that's formative, informing us of our practice and supportive to our teachers.
And to both of you, and then I'm excited to talk more about communications. You have a breadth of experience over many years as educators and as leaders. And I would just be curious to hear a little bit more about, across that breadth of experience, what you have seen works and works in the task of supporting student learning and wellness that you really want to hold on to, particularly in a time where things are more disrupted or those inequities are expanded.
Well, I can tell you the one thing that we know works is when teachers connect with their students, when relationships are genuinely built with every single student, and the student understands that the teacher truly has their best interest at heart. And when those relationships are built and students are receiving meaningful work on every day, the students are going to be engaged. Students are going to complete the work, and the learning will be at a high level. So I really think that the relationship piece is that one non-negotiable.
Dr. Goffney?
And I think along that same line of connecting and building the relationships, that is also the case for our teachers. We are expecting our teachers to provide that connection and to build those relationships with the students. But the one thing I'm proud of is how our teaching and learning department and our professional learning department specifically has built support for our teachers. Like Dr. Davis said, it's tiered, it's just in time, it's anywhere learning. They can choose from a menu of options, thinking about where they are to provide support for what they need in order to meet the needs of our students. So I think one of the things we could have easily just said that we are expecting a virtual experience for our students and, go figure it out. But we literally have digital learning specialists, we have content specialists, everyone, and they're holding the hands of our teachers to provide them with support so they can meet the needs of our students.
It's an amazing time. I feel like we've learned so much in 6 months. And I like your comment about it's kind of everyone is a first-year teacher again, but I've been deeply impressed by how much people have learned. Are there things you all are seeing across your teacher force that the learning is like accelerating? And what are some of those areas? And what does that make you think about the future?
I'm thinking that one of the things that we found is we've had some teachers who are very innovative and they've been kind of hidden. One of our, as we transitioned to the fall from the spring, during the summer, we had a summer learning experience. We typically have summer camps, but instead of summer camps, we had some teachers who came together to design learning in partnership with our teaching and learning department. And so some of them have done some amazing things in order to reach out and support our students. In addition, though, I think one of the things that has been most impressive is how they have partnered with our parents in a different way. We typically have our muffins with moms and our donuts with dads, but the way that our teachers have been able to partner with our parents, because the learning is happening at home, and also how we're building out a family and community engagement office that took literally, the office was opened in late spring and she's been running ever since, running trainings for our parents to equip them with how they could best help and support our students as well.
That is great to hear. Let us go to communications then. Shalia, would love to hear from your seat. This has just been such an unbelievable ride, I'm sure, for the past 6 months from that first moment you thought this might be a thing. would love to hear where you're seeing exciting progress and what you think that means just for community connection, knowing how significant relationships are.
Sure. Thank you for asking, and thank you for including Aldine. I think Dr. Goffney grounded the conversation in our strategic plan, and I think that that's where we should start. Our strategic plan has 5 priorities. It begins with student achievement, goes through school culture, stops around mission-driven leadership. So we're focusing on the leaders in the district, includes operational efficiency. And then I like to say we save the best for last, and include community engagement and outreach. And so even through COVID, we launched that at the beginning of the school year last year. Even through COVID, we've been able to continue to support all of those initiatives and really tie everything that that's happening back to those things. And so Dr. Goffney alluded to the launch of the Family and Community Engagement Office. Crazy enough, she was announced, the executive director was announced on March 5th. Our very last day in our building was March 6th. And so at that moment, we birthed Family and Community Engagement. And who knew that her skill set, the need for her department would be utilized so much in those big months. That department has been tied directly to teaching and learning. They've worked together to ensure, as Dr. Davis's team launched an online platform for learning, that her team was able to support by teaching parents and training parents and giving them opportunities to engage and share how they're feeling and what they're experiencing. So sitting in my seat, we've been able to really continue to tell the Aldine story, which happens to be one of my priorities. You know, one of the things that I'm focused on, telling the story of the things that are happening in Aldine, telling the story of the things that we are doing and how we are launching a new curriculum in literacy and how we are feeding students, and really how all those things are tying together to make sure that our students still have choices and opportunities when they graduate. So I would tell you that the phrase that I've adopted is never waste a crisis. And so we are in fact in a pandemic. There's been a crisis almost every week. That's something different, but we've not wasted it. We've used it as an opportunity to pivot, to grow, to advance, and really to accelerate some of the things that would have been sitting on the shelf, would have been done in year 2, would have been, launched through a whole cohort or a work group.
Pilots.
Yeah. We've said we don't have time for that. We need to do it now. I think the one thing that we have also uncovered is that we have weaknesses, that are happening. And so there's some challenges. We know that technology and access to technology is a challenge for our community. And so we've been able to use these opportunities to connect with businesses and organizations and nonprofits to help support our students and our families. Again, if we wouldn't have had this crisis, that may have taken a little longer. If we didn't have this crisis, people may not have heard about Aldine. They may have only still been hearing about, the big monster in our area, which is HISD. But because Aldine is doing things the way we've been doing them, they're calling us, they're checking on us. I didn't say, but his team was one of the first to launch an online platform. And so, he's not going to brag about that. I will, and then people copied our stuff, right? They used us as a best practice. We were also first to say we're giving everyone food, no matter what. And then our asynchronous plan is now being celebrated and highlighted and used by the state to champion the work that's being done. And so I do think that the things that we are doing good for kids are not just going to benefit the kids in Aldine.
Or not just serve you in this moment, right?
No,
I mean,
it will be long term, right? And so I think the things that we're doing in Aldine will help the rest of the state. And then at the same time, I think we've all had to put on our big girl shoes and our, you know, our big leader clothes and really lean in and do things that we may have asked permission before. We may have been a little timid, but we've been able to do them, and we've been able to do them well. Of course, there have been stumbling blocks, but I think overall, it's positioned us in a place and given us some confidence to really move forward and say, you know, we're doing what's right for kids, and we're underlining our strategic plan.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. And just taking sort of family and parent engagement as an example, we've always known that that is a place that is important and something that has needed to be central. And I think we have no choice but it to be right now in a way that has, I'm hearing incredible stories about people forming different kinds of relationships than I feel like they've had ever before. Is there anything you all people are trying, but you know it doesn't work? Is there anything you're hoping people don't do or don't perpetuate maybe about past practices?
I have one. It's not really terrible, but I will say that we have got to drop what we've always done it this way. And I also think that we have to lose the notion of when we come back, that things will go back to whatever it was before. There is no coming back to what it was before. Like we've just got to throw that out the window and know that we have to take on technology. We have to support our students who are way smarter than us, you know, who are able to come up with unique ways of learning. And we cannot get back into the habit of saying, well, let's go back to the regular bell schedule. Let's go back to, you know, everybody pull out your books, turn the page, you know, X, Y, Z. We have to get past that. I also think from my perspective in communications, we cannot just say, well, we're going to send you a flyer in the mail. We have to engage parents in all kinds of ways. You know, we're using social media, we're sending videos, we're recording messages, you know, I mean, nearly putting
text surveys.
We're doing billboards, we're doing whatever it takes to meet people where they are. And I think we cannot go back to, well, I need to put a folder in Johnny's backpack when he, you know, goes home so that I can reach his mom. That's not going to work. And so I hope that people in this time period lose that we're going back to something.
Anything else coming up for you, Dr. Davis or Dr. Goffney? Final thought.
Well, the one thing is that the fear of technology, I hope that we have overcome that, and that this has really accelerated us into a space that we felt like was many years down the road. And I'm very excited about our opportunity for blended learning as just a norm in our teaching and learning processes moving forward.
I know that perhaps taking lemons and making lemonade in a district our size, 67,000 students, as well as with the demographics that we serve, without COVID, there's no way we would be as close to one-to-one as we are. So by the time we receive all of our shipments, our district will be one-to-one. And I think both Dr. Davis and Ms. Reed have already alluded to the fact that pre-COVID, it would have been, we'd have had to arrange a design team. We'd have had to, like you said, conduct a pilot and do all these different things to make that happen. And so as we're beginning to transition, one of the things that teaching and learning has been serious about, okay, so when the students come from home and they come to school, do we take those computers up? So as he alluded to, the fact that blended learning, the fact that one-to-one experiences is going to become a part of the norm as we move forward, and not pull out the worksheets and pull out those books out of the closets, but this is our new, literally going to help accelerate our new way forward. And, you know, the training that has been amazing, as I've alluded to throughout this conversation, is not going to go back to, let's go back to how we've always done it. And so
Hard to imagine we're going to have like PD in the library ever again. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Now, I will be honest, I am a little bit tired of Zoom. And so I look forward to meeting you in person and providing you with coffee and whatever you want. But there are some things, though, that we don't spend a lot of time talking about because we're trying to intervene for those who are struggling. But this way forward has been beneficial. In our student advisory, many of them talk about how they do their homework and all their work at 10 o'clock at night and how they sleep in during the day and their grades have never been better and it's taught them to be more responsible. They felt like it's really good preparation for college. And so I'm hoping that this era perpetuates to us to move forward in a way that we never would have thought pre-COVID. And I'm also prayerful and hopeful. One of the things I want to make sure of, and I think it can be noted here, is COVID can't be the new excuse for low expectations. We can't say, oh, we missed that because of COVID. You know, remember, we would have been farther along if it hadn't been for COVID. I mean, I hope COVID doesn't become the new excuse for low expectations and everything.
Or, well, she's so far behind from COVID that we have to lower the expectations.
That's right.
Thank you all so much. This is an extraordinarily difficult time to lead. Thank you for everything you are doing every single day and for bringing us in to learn from some of your leadership reflections in this remarkable time. It's a privilege to be a partner to Aldine ISD.